right, let's talk about the Request Network. The Request Network is a decentralized network that allows users to request a payment, a request invoice, in which the recipient can pay in a secure way with all the information kept in a decentralized ledger, right? Sounds simple enough. This results in a simpler, cheaper, and more secure payments, allowing for a wide range of automation possibilities upon it. So really, when you think about that, first thing comes to mind is a PayPal request invoice, right? You can request invoices anytime via PayPal. This is just done in a decentralized way. At the base layer, this is what it is. From there, there's the core extensions and applications layer, which we'll get to. But the very base is that request feature, right? Where it's all decentralized and programmable. So you can do more upon that simple request of a payment. So their main goal is to focus and create a new financial system, starting with the settlement layer. Supplying this infrastructure, the developers can build all sorts of innovation solutions in areas such as, finance, accounting, all right on this network, right? A payment request application can be thought of as just like a simple brick in this foundation layer, if that makes sense. Like a foundation brick in which the entire economy is built upon. So alone, really, it solves nothing that any other project hasn't already solved. But it's more than that. It's a platform which these other bricks can be stacked upon each other to create this new streamlined system. Combined, it's a network of decentralized applications, Dapps, that fixes kind of like the fragmented nature that is the payment system the world uses. So like I said, there's 3 layers, and the first one is that core layer. So you have at the very bottom, you have this layer that hosts the digital ledger of request and the smart contracts that the network kind of relies on. Everything else relies on it. And you have the payment requests and transfer value are done here, including other basic services you'd expect. Basic addition and subtraction of invoices. So they're done on the Ethereum blockchain using the ERC20 protocol. There are other options available, but it requires additional programming to understand them, programs to understand those different options. So this can be seen as a positive or negative depending on how you view Ethereum. I've mentioned before there are problems with Ethereum, and we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm optimistic and really curious to see how this huge experiment ends up, right? So scalability in a secure blockchain environment, it's always a pressing topic with this, especially with Ethereum. So, with all the different, proposed solutions, you have Casper, proof of stake. So, like we said, we'll see where this goes when it all comes out. And, a lot of these are planned to come to fruition, late 2018, 2019. We'll kind of see where it comes. So then on top of this core layer, you have the extensions layer. So as you would expect, the next layer handles a little more complex payments than a simple peer-to-peer invoice. So an example could be like a business request an invoice that requires unique calculations like additional payments, maybe adding in some late fees or even escrow options. So you can secure a subscription payment model would also be kind of possible if you think about it, with like a that has like a continuous billing solution right on this layer. So all fees on this layer, this is where request comes in, the fees. So REQ is the native ticker for the currency. So this is where the layer, everything's paid in REQ in the request token. As more complex transactions are needed, the higher the cost. Obviously, kind of like with any other blockchain, the more work you have to do, the more it's going to cost. And developers are able to create some really cool extensions and charge for them, right? Enabling an incentive for innovation. So if you create something cool, you can set your costs and you get paid. So so you have these first 2 layers, and then you have the applications layer at the very top. So you can kind of think about this the same way as the entire blockchain ecosystem works on a very fundamental level, right? You have the base layers, you have the second layers, and then you have the application layers at the very edge. So the applications layer, the very top. So this is the layer where like external applications can actually leverage everything Request does as like an intermediary for any financial service that's needed. So these applications are completely outside the blockchain, right? So these can be traditional like web applications that you use. Can be enabled on request using already existing developer interfaces, opening the doors to, I mean, when you think about like all the different applications out there, you know, the goal here is, I think in blockchain right now, oracles and everything that needs to happen needs to be connected to the real world in some way. So you see these like these already existing interfaces, something like QuickBooks, for instance, right? You have all these different accounting softwares, and you can hook that directly up to request to simplify that entire fractured environment where new businesses have to track all these different things, where you could have everything in one, right? Centralized solutions obviously do exist, and they're cheaper, more efficient, but decentralization does make sense for certain business structures and wherever you're located. I mean, PayPal has shown that they can shut down whatever you want whenever they want. So a reputation system is implemented in this layer to reduce like phishing attacks and fraud, because it's going to be rampant, and I'm not too sure how that's going to shake out. I guess we'll really see kind of how we kind of have to see on everything working, right? Even the what you think is established isn't really established in this space. So I mean, the entities, like every entity that has an account kind of on request or uses request, is going to take a hit every time an invoice isn't paid, or even paid late, for instance. So I'm not too sure how. I haven't really been following developments too far, other than their initial offering, their initial coin offering. So we'll kind of see where it goes, and in the future we'll start tracking it and go from there. Thanks, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed.